Hello, my name is Redlip.
My name is Powboy. If you combine us, you get that scene in Monsters Inc. where they suck the screams out of Randall's assistant.
So if you're an audio listener right now,
Yeah.
we are both hideous. So
we are Powboy and Redlips, and we are openly beta.
If you're a visual listener,
Yeah.
there's lots of visual listeners on here.
There are.
A bit of a superpower. You'll probably notice, is it night? And you'd be right. Normally we record in the morning.
That's true.
Today it's the night shift.
We used to record at night, and then we stopped doing that because now we're either unemployed or furloughed. So welcome to a new series of Sandbox Night Shift.
At night.
This is openly beta after hours.
After hours.
You get all the special things here. Well, the good news is, because we're filming not at 10 a.m, I can drink ale again. Remember when we used to drink ale? Remember that was a thing we did?
So I actually haven't got any ale, and I've just drunk all my tequila prior to doing this podcast.
Oh, that's interesting timing.
Because I really fancied it. And you know what? I deserved it.
Yourself, you've been working. I can't talk.
I'm
drinking a nice bottle of Whitstable Bay. My mum's been doing our shopping because, minimise leaving the house. So she's been just buying me a nice little selection of ales every couple of weeks, which has been nice. Based on bottle and name, which is how we do it anyway. And I went to Whitstable last year, so that's kind of a fun callback to my life. That was the one place I went last year.
White Stable.
Yeah. It's a pale ale.
I've got decaf coffee. It has my letter on it, except we've both got the same letter, so it's not really mine.
I mean, it's fine because we don't live together, so...
No.
I'm probably not going to end up drinking out of your mug. Can I just say
it's also hilarious? Oh, go on, please.
No, I was just going to say this is a pale ale, but it tastes like a lager. Just straight up.
It tastes like a lager.
It just tastes like out of the tap pub lager.
That's actually really weird.
You should try this.
I'm actually going to hunt that down.
You should. I mean, I don't know anything about brewing, unlike you, who is literally a brewer. So I'd be interested in knowing what causes that. I mean, it says it's got citrus fruits and spice. I guess they're kind of the most
it's probably that sharpness
flavorings. Yeah, I think it's that spice. Peculiar though.
I could get into the technicalities, but you, the listener, are not here to listen to the technicalities. You're here to listen to my anecdote that I'm about to tell you before we get into games.
Oh my god,
my anecdote being at work, someone gave me I had a Budweiser yesterday, first time in a long time. Someone at work said, "Jamie, do you want this?" And they socially distanced gestured this lone Budweiser on the counter.
I'm glad they gestured from a social distance.
Yeah. I'll have that. Yeah, all right. So that's my story of how I received a Budweiser yesterday.
Oh, that was the whole story. Oh, I thought it was going somewhere.
Oh no. It was lovely.
That's very nice. The beer is good. 5 for charm, 5 for strength. Oh my god, I'm kind of sad about this, but I drank my Mr. President the other day. I was going to save it for a podcast, but I couldn't do it any longer. So I had an ale called Mr. President. Good. I think it's a brew dog. It's 9%. It does not taste that strong, but it's really strong. 9.6, something like that. It's crazy.
It completely annihilates you.
and it doesn't taste like it will. It's dangerous, but I enjoyed it a lot. Anyway, into the meat of things. We have a lot to talk about.
So we do. There was something that Sony did a few days ago, or maybe it was a week ago.
It was a week ago.
And it's called the State of Play.
25th, I think.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And it was very boring. And because it was such a long time ago, you have probably already heard about its contents.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we want to talk about this for much longer.
We say it was boring, but neither of us have actually watched it. I did just skim through, and it didn't look like there was much new or exciting. And also, I can't get a PS5 anyway. Play has no limits, my asshole. So until then, we're gonna, out of spite, because Sony aren't doing enough to fight the scalpers. They should personally be going to the scalpers' houses and picking up their PlayStation 5s.
You say that, but I'm sure they've used Players No Limits for PS4 as well.
Yeah.
And so I think that slogan still holds true, because you do own a PlayStation 4. So, you can always play all these, because all these PlayStation 5 games are coming to PS4 as well. So you're just... Okay. So in the state of play, to my knowledge, the only real juice was this tiny little bit of Final Fantasy VII Remake DLC that's coming to the PlayStation 5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake. And that's about it. People are going crazy over it. I've never played Final Fantasy VII. I've never played Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's that.
Cool. Moving on. Next topic. Bash. Lightning round.
We got Pokemon.
We do have Pokemon.
Boy, do we have Pokemon.
From boring event to, in the future, disappointing event.
Hey, so this so it was called Pokemon Presents, which cracked me up, by the way. So I love...
Because there were no Pokemon presenting.
No, there's no Pokemon presenting, which really paid me off.
Where's Minor and Bustle?
And where's Cresselia and Togetic? So, what's brilliant is this isn't... I appreciate that Pokemon Company isn't Nintendo.
Yeah.
But they're like similar. Nintendo and Pokemon Company, they love just having no naming conventions in any way whatsoever. It's brilliant. So
like every year their event's got a different name.
Yeah. So they've had this... Pokemon Presents historically has been okay, it's anything Pokemon, it's be trading cards, and to be fair, there was a little bit of non-Switch stuff in there.
Yeah.
And then Pokemon Direct is okay, right, this is very serious. This is only for Switch.
Yeah.
This was almost exclusively Switch stuff. To my memory, the only thing that wasn't Switch related was oh, by the way, we're giving out free Pokebucks in Pokemon Go or something. That was it.
And I mean, Pokemon Go is a big enough game that it's suitable for those direct events anyway, I would say.
I mean, who? Yeah, I know, but
it's just funny. Next year, it's going to be called State of Pokemon.
State of Pokemon. They did it with Nintendo as well, because they were oh yeah, we're not doing Nintendo Direct E3. We're not doing E3 Nintendo Direct. We're calling it the Nintendo E3 experience or something. They call it that. And then the next year, they were and now for our E3 Direct.
Marketing, branding. Yeah. What did you think of Pokemon Presents, Jamie?
Jack, you didn't think we were actually going to talk about the contents of it, did you?
Oh, I thought we might mention one or two games that they talked about at the Pokemon. I don't remember what it was. Pokemon Presents. That was it.
So we had new Pokemon Snap.
Yeah.
And
Snap.
Go on. Give us your impressions.
Pokemon Snap is the thing I'm most excited for from the Pokemon brand in the future, I think. Yeah, I think I'd happily say that. We didn't really get much more Pokemon Snap, did we? Much more than we've seen before?
I think they showed us the entire game.
Oh.
As in all 2 minutes of it. Because I'm really definitely expecting them to be for nostalgic reasons, we made it 2 hours long like the original. Please pay £50. Isn't it just kind of like
they'll
funny.
release it and it's the same game again with no difference, and it's $60 on Nintendo Switch.
It's the same game, but then every so often there's like these 3-second sequences. Like, hey, I remember that from the trailer, and then it goes back to N64 again.
Oh man. Well, it is a Nintendo game.
It's like at the bottom, this does not represent the final game.
The game comes out and it's just the original game. And people would buy it and Nintendo would keep doing it. Oh man. I mean, the big news at the Pokemon Presents was The Legend of Pokemon Snorlax Hourglass.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah.
So
What was it called? It had Legend of, didn't it? Like
Pokemon. Zelda. It was Pokemon : Legends.
Oh, Pokemon Legends.
Arceus.
Pokemon Legends Arceus. I remember people saying that it had a similar name to Zelda and it was trying to channel Breath of the Wild just because it had Legend
Fury.
in it.
So, oh yeah, they'll definitely try. They wish they were giving off Zelda vibes. Like they tried. They were like, "Hey, look at this lush mountain range." Except it wasn't lush.
It was grey.
There were like a handful of tries. There was like pre N64 type. That's a bit harsh.
No, it looks pretty jank. It looks PS2. Like the trees would only spawn in if they were like 10 meters in front.
It's like the character models look
very ugly green,
very clean and like great actually.
Yeah.
And then the floor they're walking on, is like an order of magnitude lower resolution than everything else.
It's just a really like gritty, grimy environment. It's like just up the vibrance all the way. It doesn't matter if it's ridiculously bright, like I currently am because of my studio lighting. Like, just make the game really bright. It's Pokemon. Why is it so like? Why does it look like it's just overcast?
It was a bit overcast.
It was quite overcast,
which is fine because I think at least for the trailer they were trying to go for like, oh, misty and it's legends and it's in the past. But
I like the setting.
Also, everyone knows that if you're trying to showcase the game, you do it in the day because the day is when games always look their best.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for a game like this, you want to have a very jolly, feel-good experience. It's just, I mean, it looks like they're definitely heading in the direction we wanted them to head in. It looks like maybe they learnt their lesson from Sword and Shield, but it's just like, why can't it look better?
So, Jack,
you're literally the richest brand in the world. Why can you not make the ultimate game of all time?
This is the thing. So they're obviously concerned. They're obviously concerned that if they don't release something every year, then they will lose their mantle of being the best franchise in the world. And when you're first, you can't. At the top of a race, things get weird. You start losing perspective of the rest of the race.
Yeah,
I feel like it doesn't look like the game you want it to be because it can't have been in development for very long.
No,
like they just released Sword and Shield.
Yeah, if they were learning from what happened last year, and it's been in development for less than a year. Like Breath of the Wild took years to make.
Like money, I appreciate. Okay, here's how they. I'm very clever. I'm very good with money. I know what I'm talking about. So
right, run us through your business plan, Jamie. Business plan.
So, what they should do if they wanted to make good games, not if they make money. This has nothing to do with making loads and loads of money because they're currently doing that right now. If they wanted to carry on making money, they just do what they're doing.
Yeah.
If they want to make good games, they have Game Freak produce this like cool concept one, and they take their time. They spend money on getting the team to be not huge because that doesn't necessarily make it better. Just like a good size, right?
Yeah.
And then if they still want their annual releases, do more spin-offs. Like get like so, example, I say Capcom because Capcom made Legend of Zelda: Oracle of Seasons and Ages.
Yeah. Great name.
They can leverage with this money they've got. They can leverage these, other developers who are quite tight with Nintendo.
Yeah.
To make cool other games for them whilst they work on the big meaty boy.
Yeah.
And they'll still make loads of money by doing that. But also they'll secure the IP for longer into the future. They can't keep doing this for too long, because the Switch 2 will come along and it will just be like, the games will still look horrible.
Yeah.
And at that point it won't be acceptable, I don't think.
People well, I say this, probably not, but I think people will eventually start to get bored of it and be like, come on, you gotta do something. I mean, they've got some great mobile games like Pokemon, like Magikarp Jump. Just release more games like that in the meantime, and then you can spend more time on big stuff. I'm trying to really quickly open Magikarp Jump so that I can hold it up to the camera and do a bit, but it's not loading. My trainer just looks sad, so I guess we'll just skim on past this bit.
I'm really happy that you actually have got that.
I own Magikarp Jump. There's nothing to it.
I actually think Magikarp Jump is one of the better mobile games that they've released.
I mean,
it's at least like fun and cool and different. It's not.
I don't have to spend money on it, and it really just takes the piss out of itself, which I like. So anyway, that was the Legend of Pokemon Breath of the Bidoof.
Just a quick side note. Do you remember Pokemon Truze?
No.
I think it was called Truze.
Truze.
So it's Pokemon Link, but in Europe they called it something like Truze, and because they're kind of like, oh, it's European, and then the UK version is just called Pokemon Truze.
What the hell?
I'm sure it is.
I don't know how that would be spelled. Is it
something
true?
like that? I might be complete. Yeah, it is. It's Truze. It's Trozei. Trozei. Trozei.
Oh, was this where you had to like get 4 in a row? 4 in a row, and you're good to go. I'm pretty sure that was the trailer.
That's
and
amazing.
I'm an absolute freak for remembering that from the trailer for Pokemon Truzo, which released in 2006.
How funny though. Because
I do remember this. 2005.
They decided to just go with like a generic European name for all European countries. It's just, what does Trozei mean? Whereas in the US it's called Pokemon Link, which makes way more sense.
Yeah, that's so weird. And then they released Pokemon Battle Truzai. And then in the US it's called Pokemon Link Battle. What is happening?
Anyway, sorry. Side
note. That's fine. We like a tangent.
What else did they reveal, Jack?
I don't remember other than Pokemon Snap and Pokemon Legends Arceus. What else did they reveal?
Are you serious? If I said brilliant with that, or shining, would that kind of get you going?
Pokemon Shiny?
What about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl?
I can't believe I forgot Diamond and Pearl.
It's because they're underwhelming.
I literally forgot about that.
Yeah.
They were my first Pokemon games. Well, Diamond was. Yeah, we knew that was coming. It was obvious.
It's sad that it's literally the same game in every possible way, like to the T. It's not like a kind of modern spin on it. It's like it is actually just the same game.
I don't think they were. I don't think I knew that they were called Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Why are they called that?
Well, the same reason that they called it Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Yeah, but Heart and Soul are like kind of cool words. But I guess
Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I mean,
yeah, but those are all cool. Brilliant and Shining aren't cool. I guess they relate to gemstones.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if they do. I mean, I think I heard some people ragging on it, but I kind of like the art style they've gone for. It's kind of like a Link's Awakening remake thing.
It's Link's Awakening if they like quartered the budget on the art. Like it looks like like a mobile game, in
Yeah,
my
I suppose it's not
opinion.
the best, to be fair, looking
And
at it
like,
again.
have you
Oh, I just
seen?
got to look at Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Have you seen? So in both Legends and Brilliant and Shining,
Yeah.
some of the animations seem to be missing keyframes.
Yeah. Well,
It's so weird.
it looks like a really low frame rate, which is worrying. 'Cause it's like, surely this is the best they're showing off at the moment.
But even in Brilliant Diamond, there's like a star. I think it's a Starly, if I remember correctly, and it
Yeah.
comes out, and it just kind of like does this flapping animation, and then just drops to the floor like instantly. It's like a frame.
No, that's just Starly using Quick Attack.
I think the overworld looks pretty nice. I actually quite like the look of the overworld,
Oh,
but
there's a really
the
angry
battles
Shinx.
look kind of a bit.
Yeah.
I will admit that I'm actually getting more and more hyped for it now than my initial reactions were, because at the end of the day, it is Gen 4, and I do love Gen 4.
Yeah, I know. It's like I do love it, but it's just I don't want to spend £50
Oh
on it
yeah,
again.
you know it's going to be a 50.
It's gonna be £50. Make it like 30, and maybe I'll consider it.
What I hate is that the original is £30 for a brand new game on like the newest hardware, whereas this is someone had a cheat sheet when they made this. Like they just copied the same game. It's like there's no original concept here,
Yeah.
and it debatably looks worse than the DS version. But they're going to charge you £20 more than the original price.
Yeah. I am biased because they were like my first ones, but I always really liked the art style of Diamond and Pearl. I
For
feel like that
me,
was
Black and White was
actually that's
basically
true.
the same art style, but they had the animating sprites,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of the sweet spot for me of how these games should look.
Yeah.
I like that kind of more pixel look, you know? Right.
Also,
Those are
oh
two
yeah,
gaming
okay.
events. Sorry, were you going to say also?
I was, but
You
you
can
should
also.
definitely say what you're going to say instead. Go.
Well, I was going to move us on, so you can also first.
No, it's not worth it. Trust me.
God, it must have been a terrible thing you're about to say. Well, those are the two big gaming events that happened in the last couple of weeks. Do we
Yeah,
have
I
any
mean,
other news?
I haven't got any gaming news. There has been things going on. I mean, there's been games announced. There was a new Aliens game announced yesterday,
Yeah, I haven't actually looked into that yet, but I heard about it.
which is always intriguing, I'll say.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I could be hype.
Well, I mean, this is terrible. I'm just using. Normally when I have like a list, but
Yeah,
this time
completely
I
off the top of your head.
mainly because I didn't want to
Professionals.
diversify too much on this podcast
Trying
because
to drag it out too much.
there's
Can I throw
other
in some
things.
quick movie news?
Always, please.
Always. Maybe to round off the news segment if you don't so much as mine. So this is stuff from the past like 2 weeks. Some of it's kind of old news. In fact, all of it's probably old news. I'm going to throw it out there anyway. The first one is Old. Have you heard about Old?
Old.
Old. OLD. It's
I
the
don't know
new
what
M
old
Night.
is.
It's the new M Night Shyamalan film. It's a family are on vacation on this like island, and they realize that they start to rapidly age, and that's the whole premise. Which is a very cool premise, and it looks like it's shot pretty well. Looks pretty cool, but the dialogue in the trailer is so abysmal.
Oh no! As
And
in what way?
well, it's not even so much that, but it's also the line delivery. I think there's a line the mum has where she's like, "Oh my god, he was only 12 years old this morning, and now her son's like 25." It's like, are you not freaking out?
Oh, that's a shame.
There are bits
That's
like that
not
where it's like,
fixable.
yeah, I know. It's like, why did she say it like that? Did they not do another take? But I don't know. But it's an interesting concept. It could be kind of campy and fun. I mean, for me, that's a very horrifying premise. I
Absolutely.
want to be a child forever.
I say non-reversible. I mean, I was just talking to my girlfriend earlier this evening about how fast we're aging. I hated it.
Yeah. 25 next year, mate. They
Yeah.
grow up so fast. Yeah, so it looks like it could be cool anyway. M. Night Shyamalan is so hit and miss, and he's been a bit more hit lately, and
Has he?
sometimes big old misses, and sometimes
Yeah.
a bit more hit. Or what am I thinking of? Split was good.
Yeah, then Glass wasn't.
Glass was pretty damn terrible, but it was also hilarious. The Visit.
Does not count.
The Visit was pretty bad, but it kind of had its moments. It was better than some of his other stuff. It felt like he was improving a bit when he got to Split, and then he didn't. But this looks more like it reminds me more of Split than of some of his other ones. It looks like it's got kind of a look, kind of cool.
I'm gonna watch a trailer here. It says it's based on a graphic novel.
Yeah.
Called Sandcastle.
Oh.
And I kind of want to I like the concept. I kind of want to check out the graphic novel, to be honest.
Check out the graphic novel.
Thank you.
Should I throw out more movie news that we're not interested in?
I'm interested in movie news.
Well, you won't be interested in this one, Jamie. It's Fantastic Beasts 3.
You know what? We've got 4 minutes, less than that now. We can totally just rag on Harry Potter for a few minutes.
Wait, why do we only have 4 minutes?
Well, usually I like to think that we have half an hour chunks for this podcast.
I feel like you've been secretly like pulling the strings of all the podcasts without me realizing.
You've never noticed that we aim for half an hour for news?
I guess so. You just said that in such a way that I thought, is he in my head? I mean, I've got other stuff to talk about after this, so we won't rag on it for the entire 4 minutes. But
we haven't. Just so you know, we absolutely do not have 4 minutes anymore.
Oh no, we've been talking about how we got 4 minutes for 2 minutes now. But anyway, Johnny Depp's out because of Amber Heard controversy. I don't know who's interested in this franchise still. I was bored to death during the first film. Second one solidified that for me. Just stop making Fantastic Beasts films. Make other Wizarding World films. Give up on this franchise.
Why haven't they done... Like, they should just...
They make money.
Okay, so the game hasn't come out yet.
No.
But the Harry Potter game as a concept sounds like it could also be a great idea for a movie. Like, I'd watch that as a movie as well. Oh. It froze then.
Oh, you've gone quiet.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me? I can hear you now.
Yeah, I don't know what happened then. That was a bit scary.
You just went quiet for a second, looked confused. Did you hear what I said?
No.
I said what, as in like going back in time to like, I don't know, medieval wizarding world or whatever. Yeah.
I think that's a great premise.
Yeah, that is a good premise.
Anyway, that was us ragging. We
ragged on Harry Potter, and then the wizards seem to have like, I don't know, corrupted our recording or something. I've also written down.
They don't like to meddle in Muggle affairs usually.
Oh, that's true. Voldemort wants to take over the Wizarding World that has no bearing or power over the majority of the actual world.
I didn't even. Oh no! Do they not address that?
Oh, they probably do.
I'm sure they addressed that. I'm sure they. There was like a line in the movie because I can't remember the books. It's been too long. But I can remember the movie. I'm sure they said something like he views Muggles as like animals. Like he would literally just like happily kill / enslave humanity. That was kind of the idea.
Assume that he's going to take over the Wisdom World, and then because they're gone, he can just destroy the real world.
I mean, why does he even bother going around like sneaking around, tiptoeing around humans when he can,
everyone
like? They could nuke him and he could just like teleport away. Like literally, there's nothing they can do.
Imagine if Voldemort like goes into like London and is like, "I'm going to kill everyone," and then like an armed policeman just shoots him with a fucking gun, and Like, if he doesn't notice, he's dead. That's how
Oh
I want it to
no.
end. Okay, moving
Avada
on.
Kedavra.
I've also written down The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but I don't know why. And I googled The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and couldn't find anything. So I don't know if they're rebooting The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I don't know. I don't remember why I wrote that down. Willy's Wonderland is one I wanted to talk about. Have you seen this?
Is it a sequel to Balan Wonderworld?
It's not. It's Nicolas Cage in Five Nights at Freddy's, but
Oh,
his character doesn't speak for the entire film, and it looks actually terrible. But
oh, this looks so bad.
it looks really bad. It looks really low budget. But I also think it would be a hysterical film to watch. Most of the films I've got are ones I just want to completely rag on the entire time, which feels unfair. There's probably good films coming out.
Oh, this looks like so bad. So
Yeah, it looks like they put in no effort, which is kind of fun.
we need to watch more films, Jack. I miss watching films with
We
you.
can have movie nights over Discord and stuff. That would be good. Okay, there's one final thing that I want you to Google, Jamie.
Yeah.
It's a new Bruce Willis and Frank Grillo film. It's called Cosmic Sin. Google Cosmic Sin, look at the poster, and tell me what it makes you think of.
It makes me think of Live, Die, Repeat. What's it
It
called?
does make you think of Edge of Tomorrow.
That's
Live,
it,
Die,
Edge of
Repeat.
Tomorrow.
It's the same poster, but they've taken Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise's heads away, and they've pasted Bruce Willis and Frank Grillo on top. It's shockingly the same poster.
I'm gonna get the two up.
Get the two up. I think if you type in E after Cosmic Sin, Edge of Tomorrow comes up as a suggestion because they're so similar.
How funny is it? Oh no!
Do you see it?
Well, I mean, yeah, they're obviously they're different, but not that different.
It's just the suits they're wearing are so similar. I mean, there's a few Live, Die, Repeat posters as well, but if you find certain ones, it just looks identical. It
Shows you, doesn't it, how much that marketing was ingrained into me that I could remember the marketing, but not the actual name of the movie.
Yeah, that's true, actually. It's funny because, I mean, I really like Edge of Tomorrow, but it's not like the most memorable movie. It's funny that this poster just made me think of it so immediately, and everyone in the
How weird
comments.
is that, though? How weird is that? Because I also think Edge of Tomorrow is actually a very solid movie. Like,
Yeah.
it does the whole concept pretty well.
Yeah.
But it's also...
Kind of forgettable.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a very
Yeah.
weird movie, actually.
Yeah. A lot of films like that. I mean, that was the last thing I wanted to show you. If you're listening at home or watching at home, Google Cosmic Sin. It looks terrible. It will be
Please
terrible.
do.
But the poster is exactly the same as Edge of Tomorrow, which is just hilarious to me.
Edge of Tomorrow, 7.9 on IMDb. That is a good score for that movie. That is amazing, actually.
I'd probably give it around that, to be honest. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
There's also a Coming to America sequel called Coming to America, which a lot of people are kind of excited for. Some people are kind of like, but I feel like it's a bit too before our time. One of those Eddie Murphy 90s classics, but not really for us.
Yeah.
Who knows? Moving on. That was the longest 4 minutes of your life.
So...
You know, we're in the next segment when Jamie slowly says the word "so."
Is that your movie? Is that your... do I do that a lot?
You do it every time. I wish I hadn't pointed it out, because now you're going to stop doing it.
Do I actually? Oh no, that's really embarrassing.
It's not. It's just, I always think it's a good cutoff. Like, that's where we should put the timestamps.
I'm going to make a real effort to not say that anymore.
That's going to make me sad. That's our niche.
Are you done with news?
I'm done with news. That's all I had to say.
Would I be able to tell you a little bit about Bravely Default?
Tell me a little bit about Bravely Default.
Jack is going to talk about Little Nightmares 2 after me, by the way.
In
case you were wondering.
excruciating detail.
And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But before then, I'm going to talk about Bravely Default 2. Haven't even remotely finished it yet. It's a very, 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 very long game.
I would be worried if you had.
So, I've actually I've got a lot to say. I am
Yeah.
going to give you more time to talk about your game because you finished it.
You don't have to. I feel kind of unfair doing that.
No, 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 no. Uh, I haven't finished it yet either, so I think it's unfair to like give my like super in depth impressions. You know?
That's fair.
But Bravely Default 2 is it's a very odd game.
Okay.
It feels so negatives first, right? It feels like low budget. It's published by Square Enix, and Bravely Default and Bravely Second are much beloved 3DS games.
Yeah.
And those games were, for 3DS games, they were like, as 3DS games go, like fairly high budget looking. You know, like they were, as in these were like tentpole games for the 3DS when they came out.
Yeah.
This is not a tentpole game in any way. It feels like it was given to. Well, it's a different developer, so it is actually a different developer. It's made by Clay Tech Works, I think they're called. It's also their first game.
Really?
Studio. And
that's kind of brave when it's kind of an established franchise.
It's in the name, and you can kind of tell that they are. So they spent a lot of time trying to copy the essence of the first game.
Yeah,
and there's not anything particularly new that you can cling on to that can make it seem like a warranted sequel.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's the sequel to Bravely Default. What sort of things have they added now? Like any new systems? Like no, like it's kind of the same.
Yeah,
like exactly the same, really.
Yeah.
With, I'm trying to think if there's any new things that they've added to the game.
Yeah.
Obviously, the graphics are debatable because although they are better than the 3DS, it's also they kind of took inspiration from those 3DS games, but they should have gone a little bit further with making them modernizing them.
Yeah.
They're very chibi. And I'm talking purely about the humans, right?
Yeah.
The human characters are very chibi, and the animations are very stiff. And which is exactly the same as the 3DS game, like exactly the same. But
they
it
should
feels
have
a
really
bit
taken
weird.
inspiration from similar genres on the Switch rather than just the original games.
Exactly. It's like you can't say, it's not doing anything necessarily worse than the original. But it's like it is essentially a 3DS game on the Switch. I will say the exception with the graphics, the monsters actually look really, really good.
Okay.
I think
good.
They're called Clay Tech Works, and I don't think that seems intentional because
it looks like
everything
clay.
has a kind of clay aesthetic to it.
Or like a sort of a stop motion sort of thing, maybe?
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. I'd say like not necessarily clay, but maybe like a toy. Like everything kind of has like a kind of toy. Like everything is a bit shiny.
Yeah.
And plasticky, I'd say.
Yeah.
Which for the monsters actually look really cool like that.
That's cool.
Right.
Fair.
That's some bad stuff, but the good stuff.
I was going to say I wasn't expecting so much bad stuff.
No, well, that's the bad stuff. The good stuff is that Bravely Default on the 3DS is an excellent game.
Yeah.
And this is just more the same, which means it still is actually a really good game.
Yeah.
It is actually really, really good. I think I focus so much on the bad stuff is because I'm always a bit surprised by the pricing of these types of games.
Yes. Any Switch game.
It's just like, this is a 3DS game,
Mm.
priced higher. It's a
It's
bit.
such a shame because I would buy so many more Switch games if they were more affordable.
It's just. It's just such a, and considering it's published by Square Enix as well, it's such a big difference between it. I don't know. It feels more. It doesn't feel like an indie game. It feels higher budget than an indie game, but it kind of feels a little bit like a double A game. It's a double A game,
Yeah.
with AAA pricing, basically.
Yeah. It's a
but
double A battery.
I'm still talking about negatives.
Yeah.
I'm going to quickly go through it. Quickly go through some cool stuff with you.
Yeah. Give me the list.
Job system. The job system is sick. You basically have. I think actually this is actually a new feature. I think I remember this is a new feature. So
Yeah.
you have your main job, but now they've added sub jobs as well. So you can be a black mage, and you level up your character, and then you level up your job separately to your character. And when you level up a job, you get new abilities and stuff, and then you can have that then like demote it to your sub job, and so you can basically be a black mage with attack spells, but then also have an arsenal of healing spells in the background because you've got that as your sub job as well.
Yeah.
But there's like 35 different jobs that you unlock towards the end.
Yeah.
Which means there's like tens of thousands of different combinations of characters and jobs.
That's very customizable.
And there's some hilarious combos. Like it doesn't give a crap, which I love. It doesn't care. If you can find, there's some absolutely game breaking combos that you can find in the game if you're willing to put the effort into finding them.
Yeah.
Which is kind of old school and refreshing.
Yeah.
Because you don't get that much anymore.
Yeah, it's not just restrictive, it's just kind of fun.
There's tons of bosses, so you unlock new jobs by killing bosses.
Yeah.
And the bosses, basically the jobs are, there's these little like stones called asterisks. And they're basically, they contain like the embodiment of a master of a particular job.
Okay.
So like in this stone is the master bard, and whoever holds it becomes a master bard.
Okay.
But when you defeat the bosses, you take their asterisk, and so this boss who was like the leader of the bards, and you do a whole bard based boss fight, you then take his job and you can be a bard. And then the NPC loses his the boss loses all of his like bard clothes, and he's just wearing like, he just becomes an NPC, which is brilliant.
Wow. Yeah. That's a really cool system. I like that a lot.
It's really cool.
What, and do they stay in the game just walking around as an NPC?
It depends on who they are. Some of them are bad people.
Some of them cannot be left alive.
No. And like the story's actually kind of interesting so far. It starts off super generic, but it's kind of gone a little bit more twisty turny.
That's cool.
And yeah, I was going to move on to another point, but
trying to keep your thoughts coherent.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you that the story is twisty turny, but it's also, there's a heavy amount of, oh, you are the warrior of light, you must collect the 4 crystals. That is literally the story.
Yeah.
Which is so hilarious because that is like, it's like literally the story of every JRPG.
Yeah. That's how they go.
What else do I have to say about this game? Oh, so I could list a few more, but I'll make this my final point.
If you can go through more.
No.
No, I refuse. Because I'm not holding back when we talk about Little Nightmares 2.
I can't wait. I I might take some more. So
Go for it.
battles.
Yeah.
This game is so hard.
Oh, really?
So I'm just playing on normal,
Yeah.
and it is actually super hard. But they give you tools. So I'll break it down. So boss, like, normal encounters are quite often really deadly. Like, you have a party of 4. So often, oh, can you hear that in the background?
Ever so slightly.
Okay, cool.
Is it a laser gun? It's gone now.
Star Wars.
That was
So like,
tools.
so like, you'll see like, oh, there's a goblin wandering around in the overworld.
Yeah.
And you go into a fight. And then when the fight actually starts up, it's like, oh no, there's 1 goblin, 5 trolls, and 6 sheepmen, and it's like, oh, and it has its own like mini boss level of difficulty.
Yeah.
Where you can absolutely be wiped out by some random encounter
Jeez.
very easily if you're not playing smart.
Were the other games like that in terms of difficulty? Did you play the others?
I've only played like a little bit. I didn't actually own them. I've just played them before.
Yeah.
I played the first one. I haven't played Bravely Second.
Yeah.
So I can't remember. It was a while ago.
Fair.
I don't remember it being too difficult though.
That's fair. I feel like difficulty is something that franchises really try and keep consistent. And they kind of become known for being difficult, or I don't know, being more casual or whatever.
It kind of goes with the whole vibe of the game. It's like a new developer, and it kind of feels like it's the same game but also different in a way. It's very weird. But not in a sequel sense. It like very much feels like the developers are different.
Yeah.
So ordinary enemies, what makes the battle so cool is that ordinary enemies can employ the exact same tactics on you as you do to them.
That's very cool.
So in a Pokemon battle, the odds are completely in your favor. Like, oh, I'm going to just use a max revive 100 times until I win,
Yeah. And the trainer's like, I'm going to lower your defense even though you've only got 1 HP left.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not only are the AI really smart, they can use everything, and not even just the bosses. Like, every enemy encounter, they have the same rule book as you, so you have to like properly think, oh, this person's charging up an attack and they're definitely going to go for my healer for sure. I need to do blah blah blah. So obviously, with the normal enemy encounters being that difficult, the boss fights are crazy hard. Like, I had to, which is great. I haven't had to like think this hard in a turn-based battle system.
Makes it just more like a puzzle.
It actually, it really is, because like, there's they change it around, so you can't do the same tried and tested method for every boss. And because each boss is themed around their job that they're going to give you, they're completely unique in how they play. So, I mean, the very first boss in the game was probably the hardest one that I've encountered so far, which is hilarious because it's the first boss, and it's basically, it's a healer. You go against a healer and a tank, and they play like a player would. Like, the tank aggroes all the hits, whilst the healer just constantly heals him. And I was kind of stumped for a while. Like, I know what to do. I know I need to kill the healer first, right? But it was properly difficult because they kept doing spells to stop me from doing it. I
really like that though, because it feels more, I don't know, it feels more fair. It's more fun when it's like that. Like, I'm actually following the rules, sort of thing. Because I like feeling that sense of, it's like I'm playing against a real person. That's really cool.
Absolutely.
It can be really annoying if you're playing something and there's a really you feel like you deserve to lose. You've done something wrong. There's a really obvious thing the enemy can do to defeat you, and then they just do something completely asinine instead, and then you just win.
Yeah,
It's like,
and
oh, that felt unearned.
it's the worst feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. So I like that a lot. That's
So,
really cool.
and the last thing, which kind of like bundles in all sorts of other good things I have to say about the game, is it's like the JR. It feels like the kind of traditional dungeon crawling JRPG formula, kind of distilled to basically all the good bits, where there's very little frustration. So there's lots of teleport areas, half midway through dungeons, to make things easier to get in and out.
Yeah.
I think the whole idea is that it recognizes it's on a handheld, and people are probably going to be playing it in small bursts.
Yeah, that's good.
Plenty of save points. The items that like the valuable items that you want are like fairly priced. They're not stupid.
Yeah,
you get lots of money.
It sounds like it's not grindy. Like a lot of JRPGs can be really grindy.
It is grindy.
Okay, but maybe not grindy in a very frustrating or boring way. Would that be accurate?
It is accurate because there's a lot of grinding, but because the enemy AI is actually intelligent, it's actually quite fun just to grind for a bit.
Fun grind, yeah. You're not just pressing the same button over and over again like a Pokemon battle.
And with Pokemon, I'm hesitant to use any of my money because I don't want to make it too easy. Yeah. Whereas in this game, they give you lots of money and things are cheap. So it's like, I need that. Like this game's hard. I need all these items.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah, because I'm so like that in games. I just hoard everything, never use anything. So it's cool when you actually need to use it.
So, although I started off on negative, which honestly, if this game was £30, I wouldn't. I actually would kind of erase all of the negative things I said at the beginning because
it's the age-old Switch problem.
It literally would not be a problem for me if it was priced more fairly, but that's just the way it goes on Switch.
Yeah, it's nice to end on the positives anyway. And it sounds like a really good game. I mean, it sounds ideal for you.
Yeah, I have to. In summary, if you're like desperate for that kind of game, which I was, it's like it scratched the itch, man.
Yeah,
I haven't actually played a game like that for a while, and I didn't even necessarily realize that I needed that being scratched. But yeah, I was itchy. I was itchy all over the place.
This is getting incredibly sexual.
I got my Switch, just kind of lathering myself up, had Bravely Default on.
All those chibi eyes looking at you.
I know I said I'd let you have a go, but I have one more thing to say.
Go for it.
The characters are actually adults and not like kids or teenagers.
Yeah.
There's a character who's this Scottish mage.
Yeah.
And he's like the characters are like the voice acting's very questionable. Like
that's part of the charm, I feel like, in this genre.
Oh yeah. Oh no. This is not a negative.
Yeah.
This is a Scottish guy, and he just only wants to drink all the time, and I just love it because it's like, all right, we get it. This guy drinks.
It's like that's his thing. We've got to work that into every line of dialogue.
It's literally like, yes, that was a good quest. Now let's get back to the tavern for a drink. Like,
oh, brilliant.
Tell me about...
Gotta love it.
Your nightmares.
My little nightmares. My little nightmares too. Oh, Jamie, where do I even begin? Have you seen anything about this game? Do you know anything about it?
I don't. And I'm prepared for spoilers. You know, I
Do
want
you
to.
mind
I
if I
kind of.
tell you everything about it?
I'd actually quite like it if you did. Hello, a quick heads up from Jamie from the future. When Jack said he's going to tell you everything about Little Nightmares 2, he truly did mean like everything, the entire game. So, major spoiler warning. We're discussing Little Nightmares 1 and 2, how they connect, the grand story of both the games, as well as, lots of gameplay mechanics, certain encounters you have in the game. So if you're really interested in playing Little Nightmares 2 blind, I would recommend skipping towards past this discussion. Thank you. I'll let you listen now.
Okay. Do you remember the first game, the general story? I
Oh
mean, the
yeah.
briefest of overviews. Six, little girl on the ship, escapes, people trying to eat her, creepy geisha. How's that word said?
It's Geisha, isn't
I
it?
think it's geisha, which was the first one I said, so I could have just not humiliated myself. Creepy geisha lady is evil. Six kills her and eats her and inherits her powers, and then leaves the more. So the second game, you start off as a boy with a bag on his head. He's called Mono, and there's a TV next to you, which is kind of important, but it's weird at the time because you're in the woods and you're like, why is there a TV there? So the first section is there's a hunter. He's the monster attacking you. This was the demo. Really cool. And you find a girl in his basement, a little girl with like a music box, and save her. And you run away from the hunter. And there is the coolest segment where you escape from the hunter into this shed, and you shut the door, and he's banging on the door to get in, and there's a shotgun on the wall, and then together the two of you grab the shotgun, and then he smashes his head through, and then you just shoot him, and it's ringing, and it's incredible. And then they get on the door and float across this like sea that's next to the shed, and get to this giant city, and this is where like the meat of the game begins. So it's called the Pale City. And the general plot is that
Oh, okay, interesting.
yeah, it looks like Inception, Limbo. That's what it looks like exactly like that. And the whole thing is there's this thing called the transmission. It's like a TV network tower, and it's transmitting just static onto all of the TVs. And they're called the viewers. It's like all of the adults are just obsessed with watching this television. And then if there's not a TV there, they'll just kill you. And there's this guy called the Tall Man, or the Thin Man. The Thin Man, I think. He's just like a tall, slender man character, and he seems to be in charge of it, and he's like the big bad of this game. But you don't really uncover that until later on. The first bit is a school, and there's all these weird, creepy doll children who are trying to kill you, and they're called the bullies. And the big monster is a teacher who looks like a classic Little Nightmares villain, but she's a teacher. And then you get through the school, you escape the teacher, but you don't kill her. And then you go into a hospital, and there's by far the scariest bit of the whole game. You'll love to see this bit of video when I was playing this. I played it at night as well. So scary. There's like these mannequins, and they move in the dark, so you have to shine a torch at them to stop them from moving. It's very Weeping Angels.
Classic, yeah.
Absolutely horrifying. But then the main villain there is a doctor who climbs around on the ceiling, and he's like really fat. And then you kill him. And then after that is where you kind of get into the transmission stuff. So it feels very late in the game. It's kind of weird. And then you confront the Tall Man, end up killing him. Mono has a power to teleport through televisions, which I completely forgot how the game started, but I watched a lot of videos about it, and a lot of people pointed out that the game starts next to a television. So he's obviously teleported there through the television from somewhere else, which is quite interesting.
Cool.
So at the end, I completely forgot to mention the girl you rescue at the beginning, along the way, uncovers a yellow raincoat. That happens at the beginning, before the school, and it's revealed that she's 6. So you kill the Tall Man, you go into the TV network tower. He's kidnapped 6 a while ago. So you go in there to rescue 6, and she is now a giant monster. She looks like 6 still, but she's huge, and all her limbs are long and bendy. It's really weird, and you're like, oh, she's the final boss. And there's a few moments where you teleport through the TV, and it does a weird cutscene showing him teleporting, and there's this creepy eye blob monster, very Lovecraftian. So
Ooh.
you have to destroy Six's music box in like a extended boss fight. You have to kind of get Six away from it and teleport through TVs and then smash it up, and then she turns back to normal. And while you're fighting Six, the TV tower is kind of falling apart, and more of the eye monster is being revealed, kind of behind the walls, like it's everywhere. And then the game ends with you and Six are running away from the eye monster. It's completely swallowing everything like a wall of death, and you're just running away. It's like this huge thing with loads of eyes, and it's growing, and it's weird. And then they're running. There's like this wooden beam that they're running across. Six gets to the other end, and then the beam collapses, and Six grabs your arm, and you fall down. And then she kind of looks at you for a second, holding your arm, and then just lets go and drops you to your death. And it's like, whoa. And then she just teleports away through a TV mirror thing, and you're like, what the hell?
What?
You think that's the end of the game. And then more happens. The boy is now in the eye monster goo at the bottom, and then he walks along, he sits in a chair, and then it kind of does like this time lapse of over time of the boy growing up, and he grows up into the tall man. So the boy becomes the main villain.
What, then goes back in time?
I don't know, because that's the end of the game. But there's also a secret ending if you collect all of the collectibles, which I'll talk about afterwards. So the collectible, actually, no, I have to talk about it now. So I just realised. So there's one of the collectibles is hats, which is kind of cool. You just can get different hats throughout the game. The other collectible is called the Glitched Remains, I think. And it's basically children. You might have seen this. It's like children, but they look like they're like TV static. And then you go up to them and hug them, and then they vanish away. I don't remember if they're in the trailer or anything.
Can't remember.
But that's what the collectible. And at the end, when the tall man kidnaps Six, he grabs her. And when he grabs her, where she was standing, a glitched remain is. So obviously, when he takes children, it leaves like a shadow of where they were, sort of thing. And then the secret ending is Six escaping from the tower through this portal, and her glitched remain, her shadow self, is standing there, and then she looks down, and there's a leaflet or a poster for the mall, like advertising it, and then she kind of like hints towards it, and then vanishes away, and then Six looks down at it, and it ends. So I guess that's them saying that this is a prequel, even though it's kind of obvious because you see Six get her raincoat during this. So that's kind of cool. But one more thing I want to mention.
Interesting.
Something I didn't even realise until this. But remember there's a heavy theme in the first game is Six eating things.
Yeah.
In the end, she eats a gnome. I don't know if you know this, but in the DLC it's revealed that the lady turns children into gnomes. And the boy you play as in the DLC ends up being the gnome that she eats. And he's the boy that gives her bread at the beginning of the game. But every time she eats something in the first game, the shadow Six appears in the corner of the screen somewhere, which is crazy. Like the glitched remain of Six is always there when Six eats something. I never noticed it until people have obviously been mentioning this. So it seems like maybe that's kind of turned Six evil when she gets kidnapped and turned into a monster in the transmission tower. Very weird. But then there's also this big eye monster, like this Lovecraftian monster, is clearly going to be like the big bad of the series because they barely touch on that. It just appears at the end. It's like, what the hell is this? Crazy.
I'm gonna have to Google what this thing looks like. I'm not waiting.
What, the big eye monster thing?
Yeah, I can't wait to the end of your Let's Play. I need to actually see this right now.
Okay, Google eye monster and it might come up. It's not coming up. This is just normal monsters. Blob monster? That's
God,
so
I
weird.
love
Can't
the
find
design of
it.
this game. The aesthetic of this game is absolutely perfect.
They're incredible. They're so good. Well, they made a couple of comics, and I really wanted to buy them, but they only made two and then cancelled it. And the comics are like £70 to get a hard copy because they're so rare. You can get them on Kindles and stuff, but I kind of want a physical copy. But the exciting thing is, they announced a TV show a while ago, and Henry Selick was pegged to be involved. Henry Selick made The Nightmare Before Christmas and Coraline and Tim Burton-y sort of things.
I mean, come on, Coraline.
Coraline
This is just
this has very heavy Coraline aspects a lot of the time. So I don't know if that's still a thing, but I hope it is. That would be really incredible. I can't find this monster to send you a picture, which is shocking.
I've seen a very small sliver of it, but it's surprising how difficult it is to find.
I wonder if they've purposely tried to keep it difficult to find. But do you remember eyes? The eye symbol specifically being a big theme of the first game. Yeah, I mean, the logo of the game is the eye symbol, so it's obviously tied in somehow. Really sad news: the company that makes Little Nightmares, Tarsier Studios, are now leaving it. They've said we're not making any more. So now it's in the hands of Bandai Namco.
You just said Bandai Namco.
I did say Bandai Namco. So Bandai Namco now have the series, which might not be bad news, but it's kind of sad because you just really trust this company at this point.
Well, Bandai, they always did publish it, didn't they?
Yeah, they always did. They just didn't develop it themselves.
I'm a bit concerned that they would announce they're leaving before making any DLC to wrap up this plot. I
think they're making DLC for Little Nightmares 2.
Okay, good. Because that would be.
It's not going to resolve.
Worrying to just like leave a huge cliffhanger and then bye.
Well, I don't think it's going to be revealed in the DLC anyway. I think it's a third game thing. It's there's a lot that's kind of set up sort of thing. Interesting.
I love what they're doing with the story. It's really cool. Really awesome. Really interesting.
Also, you may remember at the very beginning of the first game, you see really long hanging legs in the mall. That's very much looks like it's the Thin Man. But I have no idea how that works.
Actually remember seeing that, to be honest.
I mean, it's a very brief moment. You have to pull the chair out from underneath him and then use it to open a door. But that was a big... Obviously, people love theory crafting about this game, and I love watching them, or about this series. But people are always like, who is the tall, long man? But now people think, maybe it's the Thin Man, maybe it's Mono, for some reason.
It feels like... Well, so after finishing the first one...
Yep.
There was a big part of me that thought there's no meaning to this at all. Like, there's a big part of me that's just like, yeah, this is not actually going to go anywhere. It seems like I was wrong. Seems like they're attempting to make the story work.
I don't know if there even was after the first one and they've tried to retrofit it because it's so vague you can easily do that. It's not like if they do anything, it's going to be like, oh, well, that's a plot hole. That contradicts this other game because, like, another random thing. There's a mobile game called Very Little Nightmares, and it's a Little Nightmares game, but it's a mobile game. It's point and click, and it's kind of a simpler art style and stuff. And you play as she's called the girl in the yellow raincoat. So you think it's 6, and you're in this kind of mansion called the Pit, playing through. It's like a butler and a man in a wheelchair, these different monsters. And then the main villain in that is a little girl called the Pretender. And she like screams, she's got like a siren scream and stuff. And throughout that game, you're helping another little girl escape as well. And the game ends with the other little girl pushes a boulder on top of the Pretender. Yeah. But then she like jumps out from underneath it and kills the girl in the yellow raincoat. And then it's revealed at the end that the other little girl is 6. So I'm so intrigued to see if that fits into it. Did the yellow raincoat wash ashore and then 6 grabbed that raincoat in the second game?
Is the raincoat secretly the source of all evil?
I mean, I don't know. But there's a lot to think about the end because, I mean, one, you don't even really know if Mono did turn into the same Thin Man or if the transmission tower just
a Thin Man
turns any child into that. because it seems like it's kind of creating a. It seems like he's working for the big eye monster sort of thing. Like he's the grunt and the eye monster is the big villain. So maybe he just creates a new one. But then at the same time, it's like maybe Six killed him because while she was kidnapped, she figured out that he was the Fin Man, and she was trying to stop that from happening. Maybe the reason the Fin Man is trying to maybe the reason every monster in this game is trying to kill you is because they know that you're the Fin Man.
Well, that would be incredible.
Or maybe that's why they're trying to kill Six, because they know that she creates the Fin Man.
I feel like
really interesting.
At the moment, there seems to be a bit of a disconnect between the second and first one in terms of the main meat of the story.
Well, that's why it kind of feels like it could be retrofitted.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's I mean, I love these games so much, so I don't really have criticisms. But a criticism I had of the first game is that it felt like the later levels felt much shorter than the beginning. It felt like it rushed a bit at the end. And I definitely got that with this one. You kill the Doctor really, really quickly. And it all feels kind of quick at the end, but I don't know. But the main criticism I had of this game over the first game was that the game itself felt disconnected.
It sounds like it. Based on just your description alone, it sounds quite confusing.
Like the first game, the moor was all one big structure. You had the janitor of the moor, the chefs of the moor, the guests and the lady. It all went together. There was the theme of hunger, which was very strong throughout. But this game, none of it feels like it particularly connects as well. The transmission stuff does come quite late, really. There's kind of hints to it in TVs and stuff, but I don't know. It's kind of weird like that. It feels a bit more disjointed. It feels more nightmarish than the first game. Like, it feels like there's a lot of imagery where it's like, this is actual stuff that happens in nightmares.
Okay.
Which was kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, I still absolutely love the game and would love to play more. And Six is such a cool character, even though she's completely mute. There's moments where I was like, is the twist going to be that we're the bad guys? Because Six is really messed up. Like when you're fighting the bullies in the school segment, you have this big hammer, that's a new mechanic, and you have to smash them with this hammer. It's kind of like janky to do, but that's how you fight them. And there's a bit they kidnap Six at the beginning, and at the end you have to rescue her. That's kind of always how it works. You get split up somehow. And then there's a bit at the end where you grab a hammer and you go up to a bully to fight it, and Six just goes up to it and just like tears it apart by hand. It's like, jeez. And there's a few moments like that, like when
she doesn't. Yeah, it's weird though because she turns into a monster at the end of this game, turns back again, and then goes to the mall.
Yeah, and it's
a bit confusing. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's theories like, does she go to the mall intentionally to save children or to destroy the lady, or because she's suddenly... Yeah, so her stomach doesn't rumble at all until the secret ending. She teleports through, and then her stomach starts rumbling. She grabs her stomach, and that's when the Shadow Six signals towards the mall. So people think, did she go to the mall to eat? Because the whole thing of the mall is you go there to eat loads of food.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why. It's very interesting.
I feel like that's more likely because I thought that the mall was a very simple and effective metaphor for just overconsumption, really. I didn't really. You have all these other little storylines in the background, but I definitely felt that the main thing was just these horrible, over-consuming, greedy people who have no idea where their food's coming from.
Yeah,
and don't care, like, apparently, either.
For me, the symbolism was always more important than the story, but I don't know, having all these Easter eggs and stuff is really cool.
No, I love that stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, at the end of the day, I do also want it to have that general meaning, and I felt like I didn't massively get that with this game. It felt like maybe people becoming obsessed with television or over-consuming media rather than food. Like the at the end of the game when you're in kind of the TV segment, you can teleport through TVs. The viewers, some of them smash their heads into the TV screens and stuff, and some of them will just be staring at the transmission tower and then just like fall off the building, like stuff like that. Like they're just completely brain dead, sort of thing.
That's so cool, though. I love
Yeah,
that. Is so creepy.
really cool
The
imagery.
monster design, everything in these games is
And
spot on.
it all individually has its own meaning, but it feels like it's very generic. Like the school segment is clearly, the students are just brain dead because they're all look the same because the school education system, whatever. The doctor segment is the mannequins, the patients. It's supposed to be he's ripping people's body parts off and replacing them with mannequin parts because they want to be like perfect. So I guess that's kind of cosmetics or something is sort of the thing there. I will really quickly say a couple cool things that happen in the hospital section.
Mm-hmm.
One, there's a bit where there's like a mannequin arm on the ground and you walk past and Six just starts breaking the fingers on it. And it's like, what the hell? But the darkest part is when you kill the doctor, he's chasing you. You run into an incinerator in like the morgue section, and then you like crawl underneath it and out of a vent, and he crawls into the incinerator to get you, and you close the door and then pull the switch and just burn him alive. And he's like screaming and scratching the door. And then while he's burning and like the smoke is coming out of the vent, Six just sits by it and just starts warming her hands up on the fire. And it's like, Jesus Christ. It's so dark.
But that makes me feel like it's a sequel, though. That's so weird.
Like what, as in because Six is already evil?
Well, she wasn't messed up throughout the entire of the first one, was she?
I guess not, but she didn't really have a chance to be, so I feel like maybe she is just consistently messed up. Because, like...
That would be cool as well.
that's what it feels like. Or maybe she's just, I don't know, still a good person, but she's still a little messed up because of what she's been through.
Wouldn't be surprised.
It's really interesting though, and there's like the comics. There's like a webcomic app that I downloaded that's free as well, and there's all these other stories about other children living in like the school, the hospital. There's loads of children in this world that are trying to survive, and they're like the only ones left. It's really cool, but there's never any dialogue, which I like.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, I love these games. They're so good. I feel like I have so much more to say, but I don't even remember what it is because there's just too much. It was really good though. As a sequel, I loved it. I thought the gameplay was great. The graphics, it looked like it had been upped, and each section kind of introduced a new mechanic, which was a lot of fun. I'm just looking forward to the DLC.
Yeah.
One thing I did hope was that I wish I hadn't known the girl was going to be Six.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. I think she was in the trailer, but I don't remember her being in the trailer. And if she was in the trailer, she shouldn't have been in the trailer because they could have easily got around that. But the reason I figured out it was Six is because at the end of the DLC, there's a screenshot of Mono and Six together. So I was like, oh, Six is in this. Oh, that little girl is probably Six.
Oh.
Which is kind of annoying because I didn't know she was going to be in it. People probably knew that anyway, but you know.
That I can't even remember, and it must have been just like that, like literally what you just said, like a screenshot, or maybe it was even like the box art or something. I just always knew that she was in it. That would have been nice to be a surprise though.
It might be on the box art. I don't actually know what the box art looks like.
The thing is, I don't know how. I have no idea how popular this game is. But I do think it's
pretty popular online. It's the sort of game that you're going to get big people like Jacksepticeye and people playing. Okay. You know, it's a horror game. It's easy to get entertaining footage out of.
I just think that the yellow
raincoat
is synonymous with Little Nightmares.
Yeah,
and I think
it's taken over Georgie
recognizable. Oh, easily. One of the most iconic and most recognizable, like, you know, icons in media, popular media as a whole. You know, you've got Pokemon, and then just underneath that is the Little Nightmares franchise with their comics and their mobile games.
It's the second biggest franchise. No, I do agree though. I think Six could easily be a really, really iconic character. I mean,
Six in Smash.
People have actually been saying that they could do so much with this franchise, and I hope they do keep doing stuff and it continues to be good. Mono's cool as well. the only thing that kind of negates his branding is the fact that you can change his hat throughout the game. But his kind of cardboard bag that he wears on his head at the beginning, and that's what he's shown to be wearing in the branding. Wait, I'm seeing the cover art here, sorry, and 6 is on it, I've just noticed. But anyway, I didn't notice that.
I wonder if his name has anything to do... I mean, 6 and Mono are very specific weird
1 and
names.
6. I mean, I think Mono, I don't know, it feels more TV-ish.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, it sounds like Mono sound.
Well, if Mono makes you think of TV, 6 makes me think of the devil, personally.
I was going to say 6 reminds me of going on a boat and eating lots of food.
Seasick.
Seasick.
Is that what you meant? What did you mean?
Oh, no, I was completely... I was being daft intentionally. It doesn't mean anything.
I absolutely despise you sometimes. I feel like 6 makes me think of the devil. I do think, Mono and 6, easy cosplay.
That's a really good idea, actually.
Literally, Mono, you just need like a brown coat and a paper bag on your head, and then just a yellow raincoat for 6.
I feel like I should be the Thin Man.
You could be the Thin Man. It'd be so hard, though. You'd just be a tall guy in a suit with a fedora. Just like Slender Man, because he does just like Slender Man.
Maybe not.
I'll be the teacher.
I'm really sad that me saying that 6 reminded me of eating food and being on a boat. I'm really surprised that went over your head. I'm really sad by that.
I really thought it was a direct reference to something that I was missing. So
you know what 6 reminds me of?
What?
It doesn't remind me of anything. But it definitely it implies that there's others. Are there others?
Or like she's got 5 siblings.
Well, yeah, surely. I always thought of it as like that was her prison number. Like she was just subject number 6.
She's like one of Jumper's experiments from Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, that makes sense, wouldn't it?
626. Maybe so.
Well,
I think 6 is a great character and should be in more things.
6 actually, I'm quite surprised. I did not. I agree. I think 6 is a great character.
I think this
which
game
is amazing.
has solidified it for me.
Considering that they say nothing, that's pretty impressive.
They just have so much personality, and obviously Inishi's allowed to have more personality because you're not playing as her; she's doing her own thing.
Is there any speaking at all from any of the characters?
They say "Hey" because you can talk to each other in this one. That's it.
Okay.
You can just call them. That's literally it. They just say "Hey."
This game's begging to be co-op.
I know. I mean, that's another thing. They could so easily do co-op with Little Nightmares. Mm-hmm. Sorry, my voice is going completely because I've been talking about it for so long. The only thing is, I don't know if my
voice has gone
completely. I don't know if it would break the immersion of having co-op. It would have to be like this, where it's you and a companion, and the companion can be taken over by a co-op player, but then they can also go back into being AI. It would be that for me, because I think the atmosphere is so important.
I can see
it's like Lego
an
Star Wars
eventuality
appear.
Well, I can see an eventuality where they could make it really good if they really. I can see some really tense moments where, for example, you're walking together and then I don't know, a wall falls between you two.
Yeah,
and then one player is being chased by a monster while the other player has to really quickly find a lever to
yeah.
That could be pretty tense.
Yeah, and stuff like that happens in this game with the AI. So
but there we go. That's really funny.
Yeah, no, I just mean the actual, the very base level mechanics of how it would work. Like you couldn't have it so that it's single player, and then someone else comes along and presses start, and then another character appears next to them or something. You know what I mean?
You're saying that it would need to be built specifically and owned exclusively for 2-player.
Either 2-player or single player with a very good AI. That's how I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's another way around that I can't think of off the top of my head.
Speaking of multiplayer, actually,
yeah.
Are you finished talking about Little Nightmares 2?
I feel like I've got a billion more things to talk about, but I can't think of any of them off the top of my head. One final Easter egg I'll mention, because it just came to me.
Please keep going.
No, it's fine, because I actually can't think of anything else, and there's no point in me sitting here going, But when you're going through the city, you can go through a window. There's loads of secret sections and stuff. The exploration in this game is really good. You can go through a window and you end up in an apartment that has a picture of the lady and one of the geisha dogs from the first game that you can smash. And there's a letter coming through the letterbox that has blueprints for a ship. So it very much insinuates that you're just in like the lady's flat. Or like a fan of the lady's flat. That's kind of a cool little Easter egg. Over to you.
Yeah, they need a third game to wrap this up.
I just wish they were for sure. It's like I need more. I don't even want a third game to wrap it up. I want 8 more games to wrap it up.
Well, yeah, they could keep doing prequels as well if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Which they might, which kind of disturbs me a little bit.
I feel like next will be a sequel. It would be cool to see a version of this world where it's normal and you see it decay into this.
Oh, now that would be. I mean, just confirmation that there was a normal would be nice, because we don't actually know if there actually
like, where do these
ever
kids
was a
come
normal
from. And it's just the sizing of everything. Everything's huge.
And
there's no normal sized adults.
Yeah, the fact that they haven't even explained where the kids come from is very interesting.
They're just trying to survive. There's loads of like kid characters in the extended universe of Little Nightmares.
Oh my!
There's like Fat Kid.
You're
and
such a fan. I love it.
Lollipop Kid. I actually really am. I kind of forgot how much of a fan I was of this franchise until this game. It's so good. I love the first game as well. Move on.
There's not much more. This is more of a fleeting mention. But just talking about the co-op on this reminded me of the fact that the Outlast Trials is coming out, I think, this year, which could be very, very interesting.
We've got to jump on that, Jamie. We're taking Openly Beta back to its roots.
Yeah, of course. Episode 1.
Go
and check out episode 1 of Openly Beta, guys.
Yeah, it says initial release date 2021. That will always be how our channel started, Jamie.
It will.
It's very cute stuff.
That was a fun video. We're all in suits. It's brilliant.
Pardon me. That was a fun series of videos.
So, I think that probably wraps up the podcast, I reckon.
Yeah, if I think of any more Little Nightmares things, I'll give you a phone call at 3 a.m. and tell you what else I had to say.
Can you actually, though? Because I kind of really wanted you just give me a summary of the game like you just did.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, 1 for rambling and 2 for spoiling the entire game. I barely even talked about the actual game itself. It's just like, right, this is the entire story.
The more I was listening to you, the more I was realizing that I'm going to have to put like a little disclaimer before you start talking about this game. Like, yeah, Jack literally just tells you about the whole game.
Yeah, we didn't actually say spoilers. We probably should have. It's fine. We'll only spoil it for 2 people.
Well, you did say something along the lines of, I'm just going to summarize it all for you. I think you said those words.
I said that about the first game, and then I just started talking about the second game.
And you just literally said there was a boat.
It was on the boat. I wanted to be brief, which I failed at. The theme tune is great, by the way. It appears in the game several times, along with the creepy song from the first game.
Oh man, I didn't talk about Bravely Default's music.
Is it great?
Oh, the music's so good. like properly top tier good. It's so nice.
That's really cool. I love it.
Yeah. Which is makes it even more funny when you have like these kind of weird, freaky looking chibi boss fights, and then it's like
rolling around at the speed of sound.
It's like, oh, this is cool, but oh man, this is epic. I don't care about how ugly you are. Like,
okay,
I'm going to kill you.
I love it.
We are actually now ending the podcast, but I have one final thing about Bravely Default, which I've just remembered.
Hit me.
There's a boss. It's not a boss. It's an encounter near the beginning of the game, and it does that cute thing that some video games do, where you have to fight the final boss, but you have to lose.
Oh,
And I think
okay.
like he's too powerful, you can't beat him.
You have to go back and do it later.
Yeah, which I always love. I think it's cute.
Yeah, I quite like
Um,
that.
but someone, of course, someone on Reddit just grinded and grinded and grinded and grinded and grinded and
God
got to the point where
damn it.
they actually beat him.
Yeah.
But then it comes up with a message saying, "You must be defeated by Adam to continue."
They could have just put in like a
Oh.
fake, stupid, low effort ending and then sent you back.
They,
They could have
they-
done Metal Gear Solid and had just cut to a dog in a computer room.
or like have like a henchman like fly in and like destroy you or something, like a cutscene just to say, "Oh, they just
Yeah,
little...
or surely make it literally impossible to defeat him.
Yeah,
Like
just
his health just stops going down.
Yeah, that's a fun thing that happens in that game.
That is really funny though. At least they kind of prepared for it in some way.
Yeah, I can't actually imagine the ungodly amount of grinding that they would have to have done to do that. By the way, like,
Oh, I love people on the internet.
just like we're talking like 50 hours at least, just sitting there grinding.
So funny.
The
People
game
have too
came out
much
a
time
few
on their
days ago,
hands.
Jack. Like someone took a week off. Someone took a week, or they're either not employed,
Yeah.
in which case,
Pandemic.
expensive game.
People have time.
It could be that, but you know for a fact that regardless of the pandemic, there would have been some guy who took a week off work
Somewhere.
to sit there and just kill level 1 rat 100 million times.
I gotta get the video for Reddit. That is so funny. And they're probably literally the only person in the entire world who's done that and who will have done that.
Well, once the secret's out that's what's happened. That's what happens.
Mm.
There isn't going to be no other person who's going to do that.
Why would anyone else waste their time doing that?
That'll be the only person who has ever done it.
Oh, that's so funny.
Well, this was the episode 44 of the
Nearly at 50.
Sandbox podcast. Nearly
Yep.
50.
Nearly 50.
What's that? That's Diamond anniversary, right?
Diamond anniversary of opening beta. Brilliant Diamond.
Brilliant Diamond. We are Chibi Jack and Chibi Jamie.
Yeah, that's why I had so large.
I hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast. If you want to subscribe, if you're watching us on YouTube, then basically all you need to do is either click the subscribe button with your finger,
Yeah.
or move the mouse over to the subscribe box.
Yeah.
Just give it a click for old Jamie.
What if I'm using a trackpad, Jamie? What if I'm using a laptop with a trackpad instead of a mouse?
So, for those of you who are using a trackpad, first of all, I would recommend next time you watch one of our podcasts to invest in a mouse.
Yeah, wireless.
But wired. I'm wires.
Wired. Okay.
Team wired. Oh my goodness me. That is a dusty wire.
Yeah, my wireless mouse is incredibly dusty. I haven't used it very often.
If you're watching on Spotify,
Yeah.
then
Why are you watching?
all I can ask you is, what are you doing?
You're just watching that bar tick along.
No, if you're watching on Spotify, that's fantastic. I don't think you can subscribe. So in that case, we will be back in a week.
Look out for us, I guess.
Just try and remember. I mean, if you got this far, you're a mega fan anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
And you've actually gone to the part of the podcast where we give you a little bit of a treat for if you got to the end. It's one of Jack's very famous sayings.
Yeah. My famous saying is that the littlest nightmare of all is change.